Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Mehran from the One Point channel in YouTube and the site mind.that seekstruth.com. Mind.that seekstruth.com. We talk about thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego. We talk about breakups, how you can move on, what things are happening, your inner movement of the psyche, why you feel the way you do, and how you can handle your breakup. We also talk about OCD subsets, the components of the brain that are involved in that glitch, in that malfunction of the signaling system of the brain, and the subsets such as HOCD and whatnot. Intrusive thoughts, repetitive thoughts, and how we can move on from that and rewire the brain through neuroplasticity using the neuroscience research of famous researchers such as Dr. Penfield, Dr. Schwartz, Dr. Sperry, Dr. Owens, Dr. Libet, and their experiences in the laboratory, which we will discuss if it needs to be discussed in regards to answering your questions. I'll be here for the next maybe an hour, and we'll try to discuss what's concerning you, one and many, and hope there'll be some helpful hints for you to handle your present situation. Now, on YouTube, we have Thomas here. Thomas, don't forget the protocol: age, gender, where you're tuning in from. Male, M for male, F for female, or however you signify one's inclination or gender, and then the age and where you're tuning from, which city, which country. That gives me a little bit about you so I can at least know who I'm talking to, how to address you, and at the same time, what level of communication we can have depending on your stage that you are in your life. Now, Thomas is male 22, Florida. Thank you for that. And then we have Julian, male 21, San Diego, California. And what do we have in TikTok? Now, everybody here, like Ellie and Billy and Margaret, TikTok. Margaret's TikTok. Okay. Now, all you guys, please do me a favor and do what we ask our YouTube friends do. The protocol is your gender, M or F, or however you signify your gender, then the age and where you're tuning in from. These are the messages that I would like to have before we start, having this conversation here, and definitely before I answer any questions. So instead of just coming in and joining, also just say, I don't know, hello, and these three little codes that I can know who is here, what age group, and what gender, and so on and so forth. So we go to our first question from YouTube. And our TikTok friends, none of them listen to what I asked for. That's novel. Let's see how influential I am here, asking you guys to give me all those three little codes, which none of them have. And thank you for that. So what else can I say? Free country, yeah. But don't expect an answer if I don't have that information. I would like to have it from every one of you here. Say, Enduringson, okay, says, I'm here on the West Coast, Canada, non-binary. All right. And your age, please, if you will. And then we have, what else did you ask? I don't know, just a hot tea and I don't know, some kind of a chocolate, if I may, because I've got no, it's not a big budget program, so I don't have no caterers here. So what else? That was Duringson. And I just want to know where you're from. Let's see, Duringson. Oh, Duringson already says West Coast, Canada. Okay, so West Coast. Are you in Vancouver? That's where I am. All right. Well, what else do we have here? And we have Antim says, what would you do if when you okay? So he said, yes, would go. I really don't understand what you're talking about. If you would help me out to understand it a little better by explaining it a little better. And also don't forget, I need your age, gender, where you're tuning in from. Otherwise, I'm sorry, I will not respond. That's my code for here. And Duringson is 34. And close P, what does that mean? Are you close to peeing or something? I don't know. I think this I don't know what that P means. Close. P, okay. Oh, you mean you're close to Vancouver. And P stands for Prince Edward Island. That's 5 hours away, my friend. And across the strait. Oh, across the strait, P. What does P stand for? Don't have a P, do we? Bowen Island is a B. Nanaimo is an N. Victoria is a V. Salt Lake City, okay. P. Oh, I think I know. But I can't figure it out. I can't. I know. There's a P there, but for now, forget it. Oh, Q. Is that a Q? He says, you're funny. I mean, it's a face. What's a face? Oh, P is a face. All right, you're really making me confused. I mean, this program did not intend to be confusing. However, the host is confused. So for now, I will go to one of the questions on YouTube until you clear the hell out of that thing. Intrusive. Okay, and I'm going to mess up your name. N during the sun. All right. N during sun. So you were born during sun. All right, fair enough. Okay. You know, all those little things that you see, it doesn't show the face here. It just shows brackets and hashtags. Also. Okay. Now, before I am actually going overboard by just entering into a friendly zone, let's be professional. So in other words, I got to have my eyebrows crossed and take a thinking cap on as if I'm a scholar of some kind, because you got to have the image, right? Now, don't forget, on YouTube, we have over 3,000 videos discussing topics of breakups, thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego, and OCD and OCD subsets, and the whole story of OCD and so on. So you can go and search my search engine for the word that you're looking for, and you're bound to have a bunch of videos. Our first question here is, Thomas says, you legend, long time. Thank you for the vote of confidence. On my YouTube channel, it looks pretty interesting. I have a background of blue sky. I guess it's not synchronized, but it actually looks pretty cool. And Thomas says, just, going through life. Okay, good. Julian, male 21, San Diego. And Thomas says, quick question. Really? How quick? Says, as your brain continues to recover, why has OCD caused me to have many different emotions, mainly lots of anger? Well, you're angry because you don't want any of these emotions interfering with yourself, your real self. And so that makes you impatient, that makes you looking for assurances, that makes you lose your confidence, that makes you question things, that makes you distracted from the things you want to accomplish on that day. So naturally, you're pissed off. But once you educate yourself about this intrusive thoughts and OCD subset, HOCD, whatnot, you realize that it is not something of your doing. It is not your fault. It is not about you. It's about the glitch of the brain. And when you focus on the fact that you're not the brain and brain is not you, which has been proven philosophically since Aristotle time, and then modern science through neuroscience has proven that beyond the shadow of the doubt, with the work of Dr. Sperry, Dr. Penfield, Owens, and Libet, and so on, Nobel Prize echelon of studies and experiments, you damn well know that brain is just an apparatus on your head, and there was a you way before brain was bestowed upon us the way it is 40,000 years ago. Until 40,000 years ago, we didn't have this brain that supposedly it helps us in many things, but also fucks up in so many other things. And yet we still don't think that the brain is an apparatus, is an organ, and it has glitches like the kidney and the liver and everything else, and intestine. It gets diarrhea, and you realize that's a diarrhea. That's not me. That is a glitch in the intestine. Yet when the brain messes up, caudate nucleus in the striatum in midbrain basal ganglia goes out of work and wacko doesn't do its job to shut down intrusive thoughts, you get all these kind of illusions about everything. You want assurance about everything, including your sexuality and everything else. Suddenly you think, well, that's about me. No, you never had this brain 40,000 years ago, but you functioned perfectly. We were like, as we are, animals, instinctively. You were running, you were hunting, you were sleeping, you were eating, you were sleeping, you were having your sex and everything. No questions. Why? Because you were not capable to think or to speak. Words didn't have meanings and thoughts were not being created. So therefore, there was no ambiguity. It was all instinctive and no question. Roots of problems. How did we say? Thoughts are the roots of all problems. When we didn't have the capability to think, we didn't have this much problems of intrusive thoughts, repetitive thoughts, OCD and OCD subsets, and all these kind of things. So if you realize that, then your anger and your impatience will go away, and you will just, through education, you will help yourself to rewire the brain through neuroplasticity and bring it back to the default setting. Now, do we have any questions from our friends in TikTok? Okay, the TikTok community are usually just lookers. You know, they don't shop anything, they just look. Like when we go to a store and they just want to see what they have. And they're mostly here to see what we have, what we're talking about. And them also, again, I read your question, I still don't say, so what would you do if when you okay, so he says yes, would go? I'm sorry, if you would have told me like where you originate, where you're watching this, then I would probably understand if you have different language that you speak. And so that's why it's not comprehensible for me here. And so you could help me out to understand it better. And we have no question whatsoever from TikTok. You know, TikTok is pretty good in gathering up viewers. When I put a video up, you know, some of them go, if it's on my political channels, it goes 100,000 about a week. And on this channel, it goes maybe, you know, a few thousand in a day. And then some 20,000 and 12,000, 15,000, whatnot, as the days go. But I wonder how come the ones who have kindly joined us, about 400 people here, there are no questions. If there are no questions, that means I'm good for nothing. The channel is good for nothing. So, and during senses, what OCD subsets? You know, there are many different subsets. Religiosity OCD, responsibility OCD, harm OCD, pedophile OCD, HOCD, that's sexual orientation OCD, pure O, which Dr. Philipson has coined this as pure O being an OCD that doesn't have the physical ritual as its compulsion, and it's mental and having to do with the virtuality of what a brain conjures up, or intrusive thoughts, images, and so on. So these are all subsets of OCD. So I did. It says, "Can you explain more?" See, I explained before you asked. It's genius of this channel. It says, "Are there lots of subsets?" Yes, there are lots of subsets. It says, "How is HOCD different than other subtypes?" It's just the fact that it's regarding inclination OCD. It's part of the pure O because it's thought-based. It's not, doesn't have any physical ritual for the compulsion. And but in all cases of OCD, it's very important you educate yourself as soon as you can and unleash the 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz to rewire the brain by certain pathways that it has cleared. And I have a video on YouTube. If you just go on YouTube and on my search engine, put in 4 steps, number 4 and steps, it will come in a video that has discussed the 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz according to his own instructions. And so it's made it clear for you how you work it. And at the same time, you can use um, understanding of on all OCDs. It's very important for you to recognize that and deal with it before it affects the habit center. Because in midbrain basal ganglia, there is a center called striatum. In a striatum, there are three circles, three centers. One is goal finding center. And in the way of OCD, goal finding center would be explained such as um, the compulsions you want to do. Let's say you feel your hands are dirty. That's an obsession. And let's say the compulsion of washing your hands to get rid of that obsession and remedy that feeling of it's dirty when it's not. You just think it's dirty. It's a mental. Then that would be the goal finding center. And when you attend to the goal finding center, meaning you do the compulsion, the result of it would be I'm comfortable now. I took care of the obsession. I did the compulsion, which is kind of countering the obsession. And now I feel secure. And that feeling of, I performed the compulsion, it stimulates the second center, which is the reward center in the striatum. And these are all on top of each other. So one affects the other. And the striatum, in the striatum, the reward center is where the dopamine is secreted. So you get that feeling by doing the compulsion, and the dopamine is secreted, and you feel great. And dopamine is addictive. So you do about 100 times with this, and you're addicted to dopamine. No longer you're doing the compulsion because of the obsession, only you're also doing it to get that dopamine because it gives you a good feeling of something good is happening. I accomplished something. And lo and behold, when you do 1,000 times of that, you're no longer doing the compulsion for the obsession or the getting your dopamine, just you're doing it because it's your habit. You don't even remember why you're doing it. And when it becomes your habit, which is affecting the habit center, then you're pretty much having a challenge in your hand how to actually diffuse and revert the habit back to how it was, which was no habit. And that's when you have to connect this whole thing to your health level and then use that cognitive abilities and understanding that to encourage you to reverse that habit, that thing, OCD, compulsion, and so on, seeking the dopamine and so on, to turn back the clock, so to speak, and back to default setting. Now, in HOCD, what happens in the striatum, again, there's another lever called caudate nucleus. A caudate nucleus is responsible to shut down intrusive thoughts based on your understanding of what your principles and core principles, your values are. Caudate nucleus is programmed to shut down what is anti or contrary to your values. So if it's considered intrusive, they'll shut it down. But when it's malfunctioning, it doesn't do its job to shut down the intrusive thoughts or images when they show up, which is irrelevant to you. But brain is another organ, glitches, and it causes havoc, causes garbage, intrusive images, intrusive thoughts, intrusive suggestions about anything, in this case, about your sexuality. And because it's the brain, you think, and because caudate nucleus is not functioning, it doesn't disappear, it doesn't dissipate what its job is. And then you say, well, because it didn't disappear, it must mean something. Now then you're messed up. You think, if it wasn't about me, it would have disappeared. No, it's just the caudate nucleus is out of whack. Then you got to help it to regain its rhythm and its programming and come back. Just like anything else breaks down. Our brain breaks down. That's why we've got so many problems in this world, psychological problems for people. Maybe more than physical problems. Everybody's a bit crazy. And we're kind of shy to say it, but we are. We all go through so much differences and difficulties and rules and taxes and propaganda and limitations and challenges and ego and all that we're bombarded with all these things and we go nuts. But we don't want to recognize it because we think genetically, I guess we all have OCD of the perfectionism. But we don't want to accept the fact that we are being perfectionists. We want everything to be okay. And therefore, if it's not, then, it's an OCD feeling of that I should be okay. So you don't want to accept that your brain actually is malfunctioning. So we don't seek help. We don't learn how to rewire it. And then we believe the brain, and brain being sick makes us feel all kinds of things. Maybe one day I wake up and I think, I don't know, I'm a guitar. I mean, if I believe my brain, I have no power not to believe it. But if I understand that the brain is an organ and it has a malfunction, components of brain malfunction, they're connected this way and that way, then I've educated myself. Then I'm not really going to freak out when I see some things that are not relevant to me. I would understand the function of it. Now, Enduringson says, is OCD considered hereditary? Maybe some think that way, and it could possibly be. I don't know exactly, but definitely it has nothing to do being only hereditary. If it is hereditary, it is not only hereditary. Why? Because the roots of OCD types, at least the OCDs that hits every kid, it's psychological security. You see, we all seeking psychological, so we're all seeking security of some kind. From a million years ago, human beings was seeking security, physical security to begin with. So the people from the village 10 kilometer away or 2 kilometer away wouldn't come in and take our women or chicken, and I'm not comparing women and chicken, so shut up. Don't come out and say, no, it's just then it was important thing for women and chicken, and of course baby dinosaurs at the time, and shelter, a little wood, little fare, little whatever we had. So instead of we didn't want the other people come and take our stuff. So for that reason, we wanted security, and the other people would keep attacking this village, and this village says, oh, there's one person coming and stealing our stuff, and it's big, so we'll get two people defending us. Those people come in and say, oh my goodness, there are two people here, so we're going to go get three people. So the destruction level would go higher and higher. The more human beings sought security, the more destruction power went up, because the other side had to counter the numbers they had. They got more numbers, so the destruction power also went up as we decided and sought more security. So, however, as we kind of went through the time, and we had certain kind of civilization and certain kind of organizational charts and whatnot in that landscape. Eventually, we had some laws, and then modern time, we had police and military and all that. Although the police and military are just playing with their ears and they don't protect the people, but the governments. But that's beside the point. We don't want to turn it into a political thing. However, so we kind of quiet down in regards to concern about physical security, but we were still looking for psychological security. And psychological security is where brain, and I call brain and mind the same at this point in juncture, but brain and mind are different. But for this conversation, we call it the same. Mind also wanted security, but it can't find the security the way the body finds it, through a safe physical environment. If my body is in the safe physical environment, my apartment, the door is locked, I'm in good part of the city, good part of town, I feel safe in a safe physical environment. But my mind doesn't find safety just because there's a safe physical environment. It finds its security in a different way. It finds its security through occupation or through order of life. It's a different way of finding security. But putting that conversation away, which has to do with relationship and so on, generally, once we kind of settle down on the physical security as a civilization kind of advanced, we still want a psychological security. And we didn't have a way to create that psychological security. And as a child, definitely, we don't have a way to create the psychological security. But we want somehow to protect that home that we have, that food that we have, that mom and dad that we have, that comfort and toys that we have. And we want to protect that. We want to have that all the time. We don't know how. So what we do, we create some fictional way of thinking that there is a power who is actually watching us. And if I do a certain number of routines of some kind, it creates certain kind of a chemical balance in my brain, and then my father wouldn't die. It's just something I make up. But as a child, I have no other way to secure what is so important for me to secure: my lifestyle, my parents, the good food that I have, the comfort, the home. So I may turn out to the light switch and turn it 5 times up and down, off, on, off, on, off, on. No, oh my God, this wasn't good. These are all glitches that we kind of barter with that idea of, if I do this, something good will happen. If I don't do it, my father may die. So all these things were the roots. The psychological security was the roots of getting into OCD, any kind of OCD. And of course, genetics and one play a role on it, but I'm not an expert in that at the moment. So, Enduringson says, thank you for your explanation. Thank you is not enough. Subscribe and promote the channel, and then we are good. And let's see, what do we have on YouTube side? We have Julian says, Mehran, I'm currently door knocking, and I have been trying to get promoted to a leader and build my own team, but I keep getting rejected and sometimes get no sale, and I need a certain amount of sales. And I am 4 weeks as a client rep for Verizon, but I'm getting better with making sales. Well, listen, first of all, I don't know your product. Number one thing that you want to do in sales, you got to know your product. You got to know your product. And some things that is contrary and inferior to your product about your competition product. Once you got that down packed, then you got to have a roster with 500 names on it, 200 names on it, 2,000 names. I don't know where you find them, but you got to have a roster that has that many names. Why? Because when you're making a cold call or door knocking, as you say, if one of them, if you have 10, if you have a roster of 10 clients, or possibility 10 prospects, names written on it, and you knock on one door and says, no, go away, I don't want anything, that's about 10% of your call gone. You say, holy macaroni, I lost 10% of my calls. You do 2 more times, 30% gone. You start getting panicky. And the fourth one, you'll be desperate. Please buy something. You fuck it up right there. So the first thing you want to do, you're going to have like 200 of them or 500 of them. So 1 or 10 goes away. It's not even, 10%. So you'll have confident level of, I've got so many inventory, so many people to go. So your day will go more relaxed and you're more confident, because if this one doesn't want it, say, oh, no big deal. I've got another 499 left to call on. So that will help you to have a better presentation when you're standing from, because you're making a presentation from position of power, that it really doesn't matter if the person buys or not, because I've got so many other. Of course, I would be happy if they do. And second thing is that when you're presenting to them, detach yourself from the outcome. So while you're doing your pitch, don't think, I hope he buys. I'm going to do this so he will buy. I'm going to now ask for the order. I'm going to now hook it on, find out what is needed. Just do your presentation, focus on the need of the customer, ask the proper questions that you understand what things is of their interest and need, and then match that with the quality and the functionings of your product, and bring that, put a highlight on that in your presentation, and detach yourself from the outcome. Meaning, don't expect the guy buy or not buy. Just focus on doing a good presentation that you can communicate to the guy according to his need, the buyer according to his need or her needs, and do your presentation and present your product as best as you can. That's all you can do. And you do that 100 times, you're bound to get 10 sales, at least. But detach yourself from that anxiety of, oh, I hope he buys because I want to elevate myself. I want to get a team leader. Don't do any of that. Just go there to educate, inform, and help the client to satisfy their need. Not that if I sell, I put money in my pocket, or I get leadership. No, let's see what this client really is asking for. Let's see if I have the solution. And if I have, oh, I know what it is, and I'm going to explain it to him or her. All right. Having said that, let's go to the next. All right. Thomas says, I don't know if I'm doing this OCD recovery correctly, brother. I get the same repetitive thoughts each and every day, and has drastically reduced. It has drastically reduced. I don't say nothing to my intrusive thoughts completely. So I don't know, is it a question or is it the information that you're telling me you're doing good? One of the problems that you have is that you keep tab that every day is the same, every day this and that. Just do what you are supposed to do, as we've talked about it many times before, and my videos have already shown it to you, discussed it there. I don't want to turn this into one-on-one consultation here, Thomas. You know that you ask many questions and your questions are repetitive. And I'm not going to go through that again. I've already done that, and you know it. But one of the problems you have is that you keep tap on how many times this has hit you. Is it the same as yesterday? You compare it with, is it less than yesterday? Is it more than yesterday? Just do what you're supposed to do according to what we've talked about, the techniques of it, and use the magic word. Once you've already recognized and labeled it and reframed it, and refocused it and revalued it, the rest of it, once you've done that, it doesn't matter what shows up, just say, okay, whatever. Don't try to interpret, don't try to get conclusion, don't try to defy it, don't try to affirm it. No, just say, okay, whatever. Because understand, brain makes 80, 90,000 thoughts a day. You can't constantly evaluate every one of them. If it's relevant, if it's not relevant, just anything that it's not what you're doing and is necessary and useful for what you're doing at that moment in time in that day, whatever, don't pay attention. You carded nucleus always shut these things out, so you wouldn't even notice about these 80,000, 90,000 thoughts a day showing up. Because it does its job, it just flips the pages as they show up, it flips it and just makes it nothing. So you can do your thing. But when it's not functioning, it's malfunctioning, you get to see all these things, or you start questioning and noticing it more than you should. So for that reason, you just say, okay, whatever. And then go on. Julian says, it's just that I feel like I need to get sales to not get let go because of fear. Well, as I mentioned, you do all those things, detach yourself from the outcome and do focus on your job, helping people to find what they need and see if you can help them. That's all. If you focus on helping people in what they need, understand their need, and then see if your product satisfies their needs, and then detach yourself from the actual outcome of the signing on the dotted line and pay you money and buy something, just try to help them. They will buy from you. If you do the steps of the sale, I have a book that I used to teach at university, local university. It was called How to Become a Super Salesman, Armed, Powered, and Poised. Now, on that book, it explains all the steps of the sales that you want to go through. And if you do the steps correctly, the closing takes place by itself. You don't even have to ask for it. Of course, you always have to ask for the order, but the closing will automatically close itself. So let's go here. So, and doing so says, thank you for your explanation. My pleasure. So we haven't had anybody new. We have got 632 people here, and we've got no questions. That's brilliant. So I should give up on TikTok and forget it and go back to YouTube, huh? Is that right? Okay. Come on, guys. If you got any question, fire up. And don't forget, I asked if you would please follow the protocol. M for male, F for female, or however you signify your gender, then your age, and then the city you are watching this program. That'll give me a little bit of information about demographics. And if you have a question, then I would know who I'm talking to, what kind of cultural backgrounds, knowing where you come from or where you're watching this program. And at the same time, I'll know your age and how to address you properly. So will you kindly honor me with that request, if you will? If it's not too much to ask, honestly, otherwise I up the price. And now we go to Le Mans, the Le Mans, or is it the Lemons? It says, good day. I hope you're well. Thank you very much for asking. It says, recently I have been deeply wanting to be in a relationship and to be in love. I've noticed that this need is consuming my life. How do I stop wanting this? Don't stop wanting this. You don't have to focus on it. It's like saying, lately, I just want to eat. And how do I stop it? No, don't stop wanting to eat. Just don't eat all the time. There are priorities. When you're working, it's not the right time to eat. Say, I'm working. That's not the right time. When I finish, then I have time to go to cafeteria. So you take a break with this desire, because for that desire they just explained to come true, to come to fruition, there are certain elements needed. It's like saying, I want apple and I want apple now. Well, you're not beside an apple tree. You can't ask for an apple if you're not beside an apple tree or a produce shop so you can go and buy an apple. So you got to be reasonable. So you want to be in love, you got to first find a woman who you would be aesthetically and consciously, unconscious level, um, compatible, or you're interested in each other. First find that. So you got to do things, activities that are, positive activities that has enough people around so you can get acquainted. And from this acquaintance, you will have, these apple trees, and you will have apples, and you get acquainted. And then eventually you may get a chance to be able to pick one of the apples that kind of winks at you, and you wink at it, and then so on and so forth. I think the metaphor could go really, really through. We better stop it here. So take a break from that desire. There are prerequisites for desire to be born, and those prerequisites needs to be present. So you can't just say, I want to buy a car, but I'm not going to go to a showroom. I'm not going to go research. I'm not going to go and drive one or test drive or try to put my money together. So when I see that, I can find none of that preparation. I just want a car. Well, there are certain things you got to do. So you want to find love. So you got to be in places that you can actually have exchange, interchange with, people around there, and you find a girl that you like, and you guys, talk and see if you have anything in common. And then next time you, exchange numbers or connections, and you be in contact, and you go from there. So there are steps that you got to take rather than just wish for it. Praying for something is great, but then after you pray, finish, you get up and go and get the things done in order to get that prayer come through, rather than waiting for God to bring it to you just because you prayed. Praying plus action, intention plus action. Ravi Betty, male 39 UK. Thank you for that. Let's go back to TikTok. And user 5760518743684. Is that what I'm going to say to call you? He says, I'm 18, I'm a boxer and in high school. Excellent. Thank you very much. But you haven't told me where you are. Male 18, where? What part of the world? That's what I need. That tells me a little bit about your cultural background. Helps me to understand you a little bit better from this distance. That way we are. All right. So okay, so we have here, and he says, do we know where you're from? Oh, BC, Canada. Oh, you're close by, aren't you? All right, he says, Male 18 from BC, Canada says, I struggle with OCD and motivation. Maybe a little bit depression then. And so you think living on a strict schedule will benefit me? I don't understand what that strict schedule means. You got to explain to me what your definition is of what you just said. Strict schedule in what? Eating, sports, studies, work, homework, friends, partying, I don't know, smoking. What the hell is it? So help me out here. And or just do what I feel like doing that day. Well, if I like to do what I feel like doing that day, I may enjoy that day, but I will not have any foundation to build anything on it for what I want to bring to fruition. What is your plan? What is it that you want to accomplish? What is it that you like to accomplish? What is it that you think is beneficial for you in one way or another to accomplish? So, for that reason, there are certain steps you got to take. Those steps need preparation. And if you want to, let's say, be a lawyer, so you got to be taking certain courses. And for taking those certain courses, you got to do certain school. To go to certain schools, you got to pass wherever you are with good numbers, good grades. So you have a plan. That I got to study well to get good grades in order to go to that other school, and that other school, take this and that, so forth, to get to actual law school, and so on and so forth. So you have certain schedules for attaining a certain goal. But if you don't have a goal, then doing lala, whatever it is, every day, so you can do, I don't know, you can lay on the couch and play video games or watch something, but where does it get you? Toward what goal is it taking you? So create your goal, understand what it takes to achieve that goal, then set schedules for every step that you want to accomplish on that way of achieving that goal, the steps that it takes to achieve that goal. And then that will motivate you because you set those goals small enough that is attainable in a day or two or a week, whatever it is that you put on it. And then when you achieve it, dopamine is secreted. It's like, yeah, I got that done. That's a motivation for the second, thrust. Just like the rocket goes up, there are a bunch of rockets on top of the rockets. The first booster takes it up to a certain extent. Then it gets to that certain elevation. The second booster, whew, yeah, I can take that the rest of it back. Because the first booster gave the motivation to the second booster. The second booster says, I'm already halfway done. Now I can go take it up. These are all motivators. So every step that you set is going to motivate you when you achieve it. And that achievement of those steps should be not too hard to achieve, and repetitively, like, a few of them in order to reach where you want to reach, rather than just one big step. Small steps that you can achieve it every day, that motivates you for the next step, and so on. You see the progression, and you become feeling closer. Dopamine is secreted. You get energized and encouraged. And after a bit, that being encouraged and having that kind of an energy and being motivated becomes your habit. No longer you need to create that motivation. It's just the way you are. I want to do something, I'm motivated. I find a way and goal and find a way to do it, and then do it and cut it into pieces to what to achieve today, what to achieve next week, and so on, and I'll do it. So you got to create that habit. In order to create habit, you got to create these little goals that are achievable, attainable, with not so much of an effort, but it's attainable because small enough, but relevant enough for your goal. And when you achieve it, it's like a locomotive. Ha, 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 ha. You're gone. So you're going to have that game and then make it happen. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. You can achieve anything in life if you can put your mind to it. And to put your mind to it, you got to make yourself to be in habit of putting your mind to it without effort. So make yourself having a habit of locomotive. I want it, I get it. Small step. Shoop, 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 shoop. Before you know it, it's done. Now, because of the shoop shoop, I gotta have some tea. Dry mouth. What a tea. Damn. Pomegranate, hibiscus, and raspberry. Beautiful. So let's see if that was helpful to you. I hope it was. Enduring says, could extreme emotional deregulation or dysregulation? I think you mean dysregulation, no? Could extreme emotional dysregulation cause OCD? You know, dysregulation is when you want to describe an emotional response that is poorly regulated, which another way is it's like fluctuating mood, like mood disorder. I don't think so. Because I had no mood disorder. I was always a happy kid. But damn, I had OCD, all kinds of it. Holy shit. But at the time, I didn't care. Like, I didn't understand this is OCD. I thought it's something I got to deal with. You know, the crazy things. I was on the bus going to elementary school. I think that a certain note had to be sung or sounded in order I feel symmetric about that note. So crazy, fucking locked up things. Like I was a kid, like maybe grade 5. I'd go. I had to end it and send kind of so fucked up, and then I had to put four corners of a tile when I would walk, or I would make sure that my foot wouldn't go on the seams, and turn the light up and down. All about insecurity and wanting to make sure that I will have my exam going well. My father and mother would be safe, or this girl would pay attention to me or something. It was all a barter deal that you would do with some imaginary watcher that could regulate this universe and its intelligence of nature. And you would think that if you do these things, it brings certain kind of balance. It was all crazy shit. But I had all kind of OCD. And of course, I got rid of them all, pretty much. But I had to work on it. And I didn't know these knowledge that I have now, which is tremendously important. Because I bloody studied this thing from health, from all kinds of neuroscientists and experts and psychotherapists and psychologists. And I really read the damn thing and I studied thoroughly what is thinking? Where does it come from? What is the relationship between thoughts and consciousness? What about fear? Where does it come from? What about desire? What is the prerequisite for desire? How desire is born? How to stop it? What about ego? All these things I studied. It took years, but I was adamant. I believed I can do anything, put my mind to it. So we figured it out. So OCD, it's not necessarily you have to have mood swings or, this regulation, emotional regulation. And if it's connected, I would know. I just know that it's a shitty thing, OCD. You want to free yourself from it. And core drug dependence says, hey, bro. And remember, if you can't write, hey, bro, instead, please, just put in M for male or F for female or however you signify your gender, age, next word. So M37, I don't know, UK or Switzerland or India, whatever. And that will tell me a little bit about it. Entering says good combo. I guess you're talking about my tea. Yeah, it's damn good. Now, let me try something. Just hang on a second. I'll try something. All right. I think I deserve a little bit break with that long discussion. This is mulberry, and mulberry is very good for you. I remember as a kid, we'd go for a picnic or some outing, and there were these big, huge mulberry trees. They all were fresh and white, and all we had to do just put a blanket down below, or shake the tree, or go on top of it, shake the branches, and these things would fall, and they were sweet like you wouldn't believe. These are dried ones. I want to see how it tastes with this tea. I love this one. Enhances, because the sourness, this cuts through it pretty good. All right. So, cold drug dependence, could you please honor me with that information, if you will? Enduring sun says dysregulation. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. And user 57 says very helpful. So yeah, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't, then I'll have an ugly stick that I get on your case, get on a plane, find out where you are, and beat the crap out of you. But put your helmet on, because the ugly stick up. Everybody on YouTube knows my ugly stick. The ones who don't take care of themselves, are too hard on themselves, and stop their lives because they broke up or something, and they think that girl or that guy was the only thing in this world that worth living for, then ugly stick will come out. So you better take good care of yourselves. And why is it that, am I speaking some that language that nobody understands? Where's that bloody code that I said? Age, gender, where you're tuning in from. Why don't you guys, I'm not going to answer any questions until our user 576. You have another question, so sometimes I find it hard. I'm not going to read it until I've got that things that I've asked. If you guys don't listen to me, I won't listen to you. Enduringson says, and before any of your questions, because I don't have to go up and scroll and look for it, age, gender, and where you're tuning in from, put that in again. I don't know, 36, what was Enduringson? What were you, 36? Something you said, 34? See, I got to scroll all the way and find it's 34. And did you say where you're from? No, you didn't. See, I have to keep looking. So, and I don't remember. So every new questions that you have, put that in front of it first, so I know who you are, and then I refresh my memory about your age, gender, and so on, and go from there. And user, you do BC, and you said how old? Because I don't want to scroll back and waste time. 18, age 18, and BC. And cold drug dependence hasn't come back with me with that information yet. I appreciate not appreciating it. User says sometimes I find it hard to enjoy things I normally enjoy and could rather just stay home. Well, you can do that. You can stay home, but then that's all the experience of that day has been. You stayed home. Face your fear, my friend. Face your fear to a certain level. Doesn't mean if you're afraid of jumping over the cliff and go jumping. No, I'm just saying, figure it out. You're bigger than what's scaring you, because you can pivot. What scares you is known, but you're not known to what scares you. So you can always be smarter than that and figure it out and cognitively understand that. And what else? Duringson says, I know it's an anxiety-based disorder. I'm curious how that part of your brain becomes dysfunctional. Which are you talking about now? OCD or this dysregulation, emotional dysregulation? Which one are you talking about? Don't think that I'm right focus on what you're saying, because we go back and forth with different questions and I just don't remember what exactly we're following. What part of brain becomes dysfunctional? Again, in what? In OCD? And during system mulberries, never had them, but I'll look for them. They're hard to find. They're expensive, and you can only find them dry in this country. There's a place here in North Vancouver called Ayub's, and they bring this, I guess, from places that it only has that. I haven't seen it in North America, at least I haven't had the chance. But damn, it's delicious. It's so nutritious for cholesterol, blood pressure, so many nutritional values. And definitely with this tea, cuts through the sourness. Oh my God. All right. Male 18, BC Canada. Thank you for that, user. And Doing Some says 34 Vancouver. Oh, Vancouver Island. So what was the P standing? Oh, that was supposed to be some kind of a, what is it? Facial thingy? Yeah, I guess so. And Doing Some says the ganglion. Word I don't know yet. No. Basal ganglia. Midbrain. Yeah, emoji, yes, got it. So let's see what we have in YouTube. Lemon says, thank you for the advice. My pleasure. Ravi is male 39 UK. And Julian says, hey, Miran, I find it difficult to work a job and go to the gym at the same time. You can't go at the same time. You got to do the job, finish the job, go to the gym. Or you can alternate days. Or you can do it when the job is ended before you go home. Or go eat something and an hour later go for your workout. Or make the workout short and light, so at least you have that in your habit and you give the body something. It's like saying, I don't have time to have a big, huge meal, but you got to have something. So you can have a sandwich. So you don't have time to do a good workout after work. You may be tired or whatever. Do a short one. It'll give you lots of energy. And when you go home, you eat good and then you sleep. Or just go weekends, holiday weekends, 2 days in a row. That'd be good. And says, at the same time, while having a bad appetite, not wanting to eat to gain muscle. Well, if you don't want to eat, I can't help you. It's like going to a doctor and the doctor says, well, look, you got diarrhea, you got to have this Imodium, or you got this, you got to have this to get rid of it. You say, I want to get rid of it, but I don't want to eat the pill. Well, Jesus. So, Julian, you're not where's Julian's age? You're 21 years old from San Diego. You're not a kid. You want something, you got to do what it takes. You want to gain muscle, you got to go to the gym, you got to go home, eat good. Why? Because you've gone to the gym. Your body wants it. And if you don't eat good within half an hour, if you work out, the body starts getting food from your muscles. So you lose muscles while you work out, then you gain the muscle if you eat good, then you go out and do workout and you don't eat good, then you lose the muscle again. But at least you get some fitness level of some kind going. So go to the gym, eat good, not overly, let's say whatever you weight, 1 gram per pound, you eat protein. And there are weight gainers, but make sure the weight gainers don't have so much sugar, because some of them have got so much sugar, it's just you're going to end up diabetic before you gain any weight. So you can supplement between meals with some bars that you have that's not too much sugar. and you got to regulate it. You can't wait until life is going to hand you in silver platter opportunities for you to do this and that, so forth. I go to the gym every night because I love it. Not because I don't have anything to do. I go see my mother at 4 o'clock at care center. She's 90 years old and she loves to see me. I help her with their meal and cut it down and make sure she eats her meal. She wants to smoke a cigarette, I bundle her up, take her in the cold if she wants, if it's not cold. Anyhow, she smokes, we play a little music, we talk, we chat. She doesn't remember things. I help her remember things. I finish that. My mood is shitty because I see my beautiful mother old and like a child, not the same strong, beautiful mother that I raised me. And then, so I go to the gym right away to bring the mood up. I work out. Tonight, reason I'm here because I went to the gym and I just stretched because everywhere hurts. I do a heavy workout every night. And it's time to take a break. So I take a break a day and then tomorrow maybe I do something else, you know? So you got to manage it and make gym part of your life because you need that activity for the body. Otherwise, we're always sitting at the computer or doing something or eating and all the frustrations and disappointments and, different reasons. We eat more and the sugar and all that comfort food. Before you know it, you're obese, you got this, you got that, you got all the conditions. Yeah? So gym is something important. Why? Because then you feel better. You feel better. Now, Duringson has put a emoji and translation, smiling. That's cool. And Zoe joined. Zoe, we need to know your age, gender, where you're tuning in from. There's 636 people here, and none of them listening to what I say, but when they have a question, they want answered. From now on, no soup for you. If I don't see those, I won't answer questions. Let's see what my YouTube people are very, very cooperative because they've been with me for a long time, some of them, and they do kindly provide that information. So I know I have some kind of idea from these writings who is behind that writing. And Julian says, and I only get 7 hours of sleep. Only? That's not bad. That's good enough. And work a 10-hour job. Okay, make the 7 hour to 8. You're good for a whole goddamn week of work. All right. And Philo25 says, what are you eating? I'll answer you if you tell me your age, gender, where you're tuning in from, like everybody else. You haven't said that. Philo, it looks like you're the first time here, Philo. I've never seen Philo0525. I've never seen your call sign. And we have how come we're back there? All right. Are you kidding me? There's 648 people here on TikTok screen and no questions other than Norrington and user 60 whatever. Something is missing, huh? All right. And Julian says, like force feeding myself, I try to get 4,500 calories. 4,500 calories a day? What the hell? How tall are you? How much do you weigh? What the hell for? Julian says a day. Oh, no, Jesus, that's too much. I think it's too much because I walk a lot for my job. I don't know what you do. Everything is kind of mystery. So if I don't know it, I can't answer it really. All right. Blay joined. All right. Julian says I'm bulking up to 200 pounds. So, and how tall are you? Why don't you guys answer me in fragments? Just answer me, goddamn it, the same sentence. And cutting to 185. All right. You don't need that much of calorie, man. Like, geez, 4,500. How much you spend? How many calories you spend a day? Julian's 5'10", 185. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Jack liked the live. Thank you for that. Everybody, please do like the like the live. That helps the algorithm. Look, we've got over 3,000 videos on YouTube channel. And these videos are not a teaser for you to buy anything. It actually addresses actual questions that you might be having. Look at the titles. Pretty much you'll find anything in regards to thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego, breakups, emotional hardship, relationships, having to do with OCD subset, intrusive thoughts, and so on. You have all these in these 3,000 videos on YouTube, and they're elaborate in discussion. They're brilliant, if I must say. I'm unanimous on that. But we are not found. That's why we only have 28,000 subscribers. We should have 2.3 million or 3 million with the type of comments and emails that I get from across the world that they don't find my channel, but when they do, they swear by it. So please do like, if you will. Every one of you who's here, please like. 717 people, or 717 likes, if you will. Hearts. So that'll help to put us on the map. Julian says, I'm naturally skinny, so I lose weight if I walk a lot. All right. And we didn't hear from Philo 0525 anymore. He asked me, what am I eating? And then he disappeared. All right, guys, it's 1 hour and 8 minutes. I think it's time for me to end our program. We don't have any more questions. We answered all the questions. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it. Now it's time for me to make some videos or edit some videos and then hopefully enjoy my tea with some more mulberries and watch a movie of some kind. So it's time for me to say, please do like the live stream, both of you, YouTube and TikTok, if you will. That's the least you can do, I guess. And Sam says, I miss my ex. That's another story for another time, and you shouldn't. It's not the ex you miss, it's the order of life that you miss, and we'll talk about it. Or just go on my channel on YouTube and put in order, and then you'll see a bunch of videos and you see what that is. You'll find out why you feel the way you do. So please do like, again, the program on TikTok and on YouTube. Now, it's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. I look forward to our next live stream. In the meantime, like the live and be good to yourself and to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mind@seekstruth.com, making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon.